Just a little, okay. And we have a good lineup today, guys. It's going to be short and sweet, an hour and a half. I think you guys are going to gain a lot of knowledge today. Without further ado, I'd like to call Peggy to introduce our first speaker of the day.
Hi, half a day. Can everybody hear me fine? Thank you. That's our line every single time we start. Half a day. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I know you have very hectic schedules, but nevertheless, you found time. That means it matters, and it's important to you just as well. But before we proceed, a familiar face from last year is back again, but this time around it is because Region 13, California, Hawaii, and officially endorse our future NAR first vice president, Mr. Mike McGrew. The floor is yours, or the virtual floor is yours, I should say.
The Zoom is mine. Well, half a day, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me to be a part of your meeting today. It is actually it's dark here. It's 8:30, 8:45, and 8 whatever in the evening. And so I went home and cooked dinner, had dinner with my wife, came back to the office, and you're all just getting your day going. It's very interesting. But I am here really for the purpose of thanking you for your endorsement and your confidence in me. I am really pleased to be in this race, and can't tell you how much I appreciate your endorsement of my campaign. It's very heartwarming, and I know that sometimes you feel like you're overlooked because you're kind of a ways out there. By the way, I've been to Manila, and I've been to Cebu City, and I've been to China, and I've to Beijing and to Xi'an, but I've never been to Guam. So hopefully I'll get a chance to see you all in your home state one of these days. But I would be very happy to answer any questions about NAR or about the campaign or anything that you would like. I know you have a hectic schedule, but I have as much time as you would like me to have.
Thank you, Mike. I'd like to defer any questions to perhaps our president, Sean Blas, or our president-elect, Liz Duenas, who are here. Either one of you can go ahead and ask your questions.
Liz, if it's okay with you, I'd like to go first. One of the things I noticed on your website was that you weren't running. I mean, in so many words, you weren't running just to run. You're running with a purpose. Can you go a little bit into detail on that? I love that, by the way.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I was fortunate to be your treasurer, your National Association of Treasurer in 2014, 2015, and 2016. And the story that I tell is that my job as treasurer was to understand the members' assets at the National Association of Realtors, which, by the way, these days that's $300 million budget and $800 million worth of net asset values, 4 buildings, and of course the big R that we all believe in. That brand is worth somewhere between $5 and $10 billion, depends on who you talk to, and we can't spend it. But it's nice to know that we have that kind of respect around the world. But my job as the treasurer was to understand what we had, understand the budget, and then be able to communicate that with the members. And I took it very seriously. I understand that everyone who writes a check and that money goes to NAR, that's kind of all that money is in our trust. And I felt very responsible for that. But I came to find out there was something even more valuable than the dollars and the amounts of the checks. It was the trust that the members put in us by giving us the money. It wasn't the money itself. It was the act of them trusting us with their money. And I found that on the leadership team, when we have the trust of our members, we can do anything. And there are so many things that need to be done. There are so many issues on the table right now. We need our members' trust. And I feel very fortunate to be in a position to hopefully earn our members' trust and move all these issues forward. So. And I appreciate your trust in me.
Yes, thank you for that. I'd like to remind everybody to keep yourselves muted for now. Thank you.
Liz?
Liz,
yeah.
go ahead.
I like what you said, Mike, about trust, because when Sean came in, it's all about accountability. So I think we're all on the same track about accountability, getting the trust of our members. You know, there's so many years that we've been actively involved, and it takes a while to get the trust of the members and to show them our fiscal responsibilities, but at the same time, providing the proper benefits that help each and every one of our members. So thank you, because we're on the same track. So I appreciate you running and looking out for the benefits of the members, and we'll work well together.
Thank you, Madam President-elect. It is interesting, at the National Association of Realtors, treasurer is not in the chairs to be president. It's a standalone position elected separately. In many associations, that's not the case. They want you to be treasurer before you move up the chairs, so you understand the budget and you understand the inner workings. And it's not just a blank check for a president to write. Not that President Sean would ever do that, but it is interesting that NAR's system is built a little differently. And so I feel very fortunate to have had that experience as treasurer and to have served with the finance committee. I will tell you, the folks on that committee take their role very seriously. They are not yes people. They ask hard questions and make you know what you're talking about. So that they trained me well.
Very good. Is there any other question coming from our presidents?
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to see, it seems like you're climbing up the ladder. So you started off with treasurer, vice president. Are you going for the top position after?
Yeah, so the way it works is treasurer was a separate standalone position. It's now a 2-year term. You're elected to it, and when it's over, you're done. You go back to being a member, which I have now been since 2016. The way it works in NAR is you run for first vice president. If you're elected to that, then you basically move on up through the chair. So first vice president in 2022, if I'm so fortunate to be there, then that would be basically automatically president-elect in 23, president in 24, past president in 25, and I'll be 65 years old at that point, so maybe I'll just ride off to Guam.
Then it's time for you to be at YPN. Thank you for that. Was there any particular focus that you would like to share when you do become our NAR president?
Yeah, there are a number of things that I think are issues that really need to be pursued. If I'm talking about the realtors, the realtor members, I think that we need to find ways to allow our members to work on their own health, or not their own health, but their financial health. One of the things that I find is, we don't have pensions, we don't have retirement plans. We are all independent contractors, and we tend to be very focused on our customers and clients, which means we sometimes forget to take care of our own self. And then all of a sudden, you're 65 or you're 70 years old, and you are working because you have to, not because you want to. So I would really like to find a way, and President Bill Brown did this a few years ago, started the Realtor Financial Wellness Center, which is part of the NAR website. You can go in there and find out what how you stack up for your hopeful retirement date or anything like that. But I want to go a step further if possible. I want to find a way for the National Association of Realtors to have some investment opportunities, not just tools that help us understand where we're at or where we're not at, but I want to have some actual opportunities for our realtor members to invest in real estate. We know it, but a lot of people don't have the time to actively manage it, or don't have the ability to borrow a lot of money to personally own real estate. So I think there are some opportunities. There's something called the Delaware Statutory Trust, and I won't bore you with the details, but that is a mechanism by which I think we could pool our money, and then that system could allow us to all own a little fraction of real estate and get the benefits of ownership without the hassle of management and the personal debt that you might have to take on. So that's something I'd like to pursue on behalf of the Realtor members. On behalf of the industry, for me, the most compelling issue right now is the home ownership gap, the difference in the home ownership rates between the races in the United States. We have a 30 points difference between white ownership and black ownership in the United States. To me, I think a lot of the problems that we have nationally are because people aren't invested in their communities. They haven't had the opportunity to get on the housing ladder. And so I think we need to find ways to make the system easier for people to have home ownership. I don't know on Guam if you have that kind of a disparate nature between races. I think it might be a different situation out on Guam, but I can tell you in the continental United States, it is a significant matter and something I think we need to give our attention to.
Thank you for that, Mike. I'd like to also find out, what are your thoughts on what NAR is recently pushing to all our regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Right. You know, this and I've had some interviews lately where I've had folks say, I think NAR should be focused on private property rights. I think they should be more focused on the nuts and bolts of our association or of our industry. And my answer or my retort to them is, shouldn't everyone have the opportunity to have ownership? Why should it be easier for one group over another? It should be everyone has the same opportunity to purchase and own real estate. And so for me, I think there are some fundamental principles at play here that I think realtors stand for. And you know, under all is the land, and upon its fair use and widely distributed use is the best answer for all of us. And so for me, I think it is imperative that we make sure that everyone has the opportunity to purchase real estate. And I would like to see more diversity in our business in terms of the realtor family. But I recognize it's not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone wants to be a salesperson. Not everyone wants to get into this business. You know, in my company, we have about 80 sales associates. We have 3 Hispanic realtors. We have 1 African-American, but I will tell you, I've got a lot more women than I do men. And I think that's very typical in our industry that we have. If you look at gender, there are a lot more women salespeople than there are male salespeople across the country. So I think I think this focus is the right focus. But I recognize that some of our members are not quite there yet. And so we have to stay the course, but we also have to be understanding that some people aren't as ready to take these things on as we would like them to be. So we have to just keep leading by example. Uh-oh.
You're on mute.
Just when you think you got this right, and you find yourself got muted.
Aren't you a Zoom warrior?
I wanted to say thank you so much for sharing that. It matters because, you know, as leader in our national, it's good to know that you share the same sentiments as everyone, and your ability to try and explain the reason behind it. And for majority, I know they share the same sentiments as well. So thank you for sharing that. This is free for all. If there's anyone that would like to ask questions before we move on with the rest of our agenda. Our past president Claire is here. Would you like
Hi,
to
Claire.
ask a question?
Hi, Mike.
You're putting
How are
on your
you?
mask to speak with me, and you're
Well,
8,000 miles away.
I'm in my office. We still have some rules in our office, so.
Understood.
And our office is pretty open.
Understood.
Yeah, so it's good to see you.
It's nice to see you from here up anyway.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can make it out here soon. We'd love to have you come out.
I appreciate that. And I understand Elizabeth Mendenhall was there, as I believe, right? As president a few years ago.
That's correct.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she's been here, and I think a few others. Right, Peggy?
That's correct. That's correct. She traveled with her father to
Richard,
Guam.
yes.
Very special.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Any last words to us, Mike?
You know, I have come to understand that you all, as a percentage of the membership of Guam, that your representatives to the National Association of Realtors are really good at attending meetings, and nobody has farther to go than you do. So that is not lost on me, and I appreciate that commitment, because you know, it's one thing for me to say I'm going to go to a meeting in Washington, D.C. It's a 3-hour flight. It is a different matter for you all to be involved. So I appreciate your commitment. I appreciate your 50 years of history. I think it's wonderful that we are able to connect by Zoom, and I hope that we'll be able to connect in person in the very near future.
Thank you very much. And we appreciate you coming back to speak to us again. And we hope this will not be the last. And with that, I'll turn it over to our president, Sean Bloss, if you have any last words for Mr. Mike McGrew.
I'd just like to thank you again for for speaking to us. Please be sure to drive home safely. Pick up some dessert for your wife on your way home, man. And we do hope to see you really soon, and we can't wait for you to start your leadership.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate your vote of confidence in me. I will work very hard to continue to earn it, and have a great meeting. Hafa day.
Before you leave, Mike, we're going to take a photo. Okay,
oh, we got to take a photo. Wait, I want to take one too. Hang on a minute.
Absolutely. Everybody.
That means you all have to wave. Okay, everybody wave. I'll take your picture while you wave. 1, 2, 3, wave.
All right, our turn. My staff will be taking photos. So let's launch all your video with your beautiful and handsome faces on. Okay, whenever my staff's ready, come on, let's do our thumbs up for Mike McGrew.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Take care, Mike.
Have a great meeting. Be well.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. What a lovely opportunity for us to have a future leader of NAR, future president, hopefully, of NAR. Next on our agenda will be President Sean speaking about our real estate safety practices and focusing on reminding everybody that we will continue to practice all the safety measures that we have trained on from last year. President Sean, the virtual floor is yours.
Sweet. Thank you very much. First off, I want to thank all of you guys for being here. Really, really appreciate it. We have 74 in attendance. You know, hopefully the next one we'll get a little bit more. So if you get something good out of this meeting, please be sure to urge your fellow realtors, our fellow realtors or members to the next one. One of the first announcements I want to make as far with COVID is that I've written our governor and lieutenant governor a letter requesting to ease up on some of our restrictions, especially because we're on PCOR 3. One of the things I requested for is that we be able to allow a little bit more more people into the homes, you know, given size restrictions, right? So, I mean, we're at 3 right now. I mean, even if we have 6 or 7, I think that'll help. The other thing that I've asked for is that we safely bring back open houses. Doing everything virtually helps, but one of the comments I get, and I'm pretty sure you guys get it too, is that it's not the same as being able to walk into the house and see and smell what everything you know looks like, right? So I've written to them. I have not heard back from them, but I promise you guys that I'm going to start off with every 2 weeks. So I've written one this week. I'm going to give it 2 weeks. If I don't hear anything, I'll write another letter and another one and another one until they respond. Hopefully by then we'll all of our restrictions will be lifted. But I'll keep trying as much as I can. The next thing I wanted to, in line with that, the other thing I want to remind you guys is that we are still in the pandemic. We still have to follow all of the guidelines that we issued last year. Peggy, can the girls bring up the guidelines real quick? So while she's doing, while the girls are bringing up the guidelines that we have for showings, I just want to make it very clear that I do not want our association to be the association that I guess brought us back down into like P Court 1 or 2. So with all of this, these are all of our guidelines that we have to follow when we're doing our showings. All persons entering the property are to provide a health declaration, and you'll find that in the GAR Form P. The second one is to please always wear a face mask. Wear and cover your mouth and your nose. No. I think people are calling it halfsies. So no halfsies. Let's go full on covering. The next one is that you need to maintain social distancing with your customers. I know it's super hard, even for me, when I see people that I haven't seen in a long time or old customers. It's very hard not to extend my hand out or to give them a hug. So just try to hold back that urge, and you can do an elbow thing if you want, or like a high what do they call them, air fives. The next one is to keep a maximum. There's a maximum of 3, including you, allowed inside the property. Try to keep that, and this is again just to make sure that everybody's safe. The next one is to not leave children unattended, whether it be in the car, especially in the car, please. Outside, inside, don't leave children unattended. Minimize touching of objects, counters, appliances, light switches, anything. No touching of anything as much as you can. Make sure when you leave to try to wipe everything up again. Number 7 is to minimize exposure time to no more than 15 minutes. When you're doing a showing, try not to stay in there longer than you have to. Get in, get out, and you can discuss things outside in the fresh air. Number 8 is to use hand sanitizer or wash your hands with soap for 20 seconds after each showing, or even exposure to a home or to your customers. These are these are simple 8 simple steps that we have to follow. It's not too much to ask for. If the governor does allow us to reduce our restrictions, we'll let you guys know, and hopefully we can at least knock, or we can increase maybe more people allowed inside the home. Okay, let me see here. The next thing I want to bring up here is the mask part. It's important to remember, as an association, our COVID-19 safe real estate practices during the pandemic period. We're still experiencing we're still in this pandemic. It has not gone away. So please just make sure to follow these rules as much as you can. The next thing I want to discuss really quickly, and I promised you I wouldn't take up too much of your time, is actual realtor safety. I'm sorry, Peggy brought this one up. So this is a property entry activity log. Again, you don't have to keep this at the property. You can keep this on you. Just make sure to log in with all of this information whenever somebody shows your property. So again, it has the property, the name of the party who went to go see it, the realtor, phone number, email, date, and time. That's all that it is. So you can keep this on you in your car. This is just in the events that we need to do contact tracing. Somebody will call you and say, hey, listen, so-and-so went to your property. Who else had close contact with them? So that's that. Peggy, anything else on COVID that you want that you think I should cover? I think I got everything that I wanted to say.
That's right, you did. Just that there are reports that was
That's right.
submitted to GAR and to President Sean. You can expound
right.
on that.
Let me, yeah, I completely, failed to note that. We've been getting, the GAR office, myself, and I'm pretty sure some of our other leaders have been getting reports of some of our members not following these guidelines, which is actually the whole reason why I wanted to bring this up strongly. The reports of showings going on without anybody wearing masks, without anybody, keeping safe distance, and with everybody having a party bigger than 3 entering into the property. I know it's hard enough, when you're constrained with time and there's 6 people in the car and they all want to see the house. But I mean, just have them go on rotation if you can. Try to make it, in and out for them. Don't do that to yourselves. Don't expose yourself to more than 2 other people in the home. I mean, you have your own families to think about, so keep safety at the top of your mind. Wear a mask always, and wash your hands. So just, please, I won't go into too much detail on some of the other things that we've gotten complaints about regarding COVID. But I mean, just because as long as you guys follow these rules, I think we'll be okay. Next up on my agenda is regarding actual realtor safety. This is regarding your personal welfare and safety during showings. We've had a few instances in the past couple of years. I won't mention any of them because I haven't gotten permission to talk about them. But where realtors were, our own realtors too, were victims during showings or even walking to their car. The things, so what I did was I looked up some safety practices that we could follow. Before I get to that, I just want to say some of the very quick and easy things that I think you guys can do. And this is just stuff that I talk to my own agents about. Most of us have WhatsApp in here. Before you guys go on your showing, if you feel that something is wrong or you feel like maybe you just got that, the spidey instinct. On WhatsApp, if you guys open up WhatsApp, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to open up mine real quick. If you open up WhatsApp, there's, I'm an iPhone user. I'm not sure how it's like with Android users, but for iPhones, if you click on the plus button, there's a section there that says location. When you click on location, there are two options. One says share live location. The other one is to share your current location. If you share your live location, you can share it with anybody you want. So if you wanted to, so for instance, if I wanted to share mine with Liz, I could time it so that Liz will see exactly where I'm going to, during the next hour. So if it looks like I'm heading, maybe I'm trying to think of a good place to dump a body. No, I'm just kidding. But if I'm going away from where my showing should be, Liz will make sure to try to contact me to ask me if everything's okay. And if not, then maybe, hopefully, I'm hoping that she would come out and try to find me. Liz, you would try to find me, right? Okay, good. Just making sure, because my God. Okay, yeah. So yeah, just wanted to make sure you guys know about that. It's really, really important. Send your live location to somebody you trust. Pick a buddy. If not, ask somebody if they can go with you. And if they can't, one of the last things that I talked to my agents about, and I see all of them on right now. The other thing I asked them to do is to just get on the phone. Get on the phone, call me, call somebody else in the office. Stay on the phone with that person as long as you need to. Whether you have them on your ear or not, just so they can hear what's going on. And then, and then that it won't prevent anything from happening, but at least your body will be found. No, I'm just kidding. But it's you'll I'm just kidding. You'll be it'll be known where you're at. It'll be known where you're at, and you can even put them on speaker to let whoever is with you know that you do have somebody that's listening and that they're going to call the cops, right? So with that, and I'm sorry for my bad jokes. I've been told I have to stop or work on them. I promise I'll try and do that. So next up is I wanted to share some safety tips that I found that were that actually are very helpful. And again, I promised to make my section pretty quick, and I think I have 6 minutes to go, so I'm going to try and go through this as quickly as possible. The first one is to always listen to your gut and trust your instincts. Super duper important. If you feel something's not right, chances are it's not right. Make sure to go through whatever steps you need to go through to make sure you protect yourself. The next one is to stay alert and always let the client walk into the room or the home first. One thing I personally do when I go into when I unlock a door is I open up the door and I just I kind of yell, "Hoi" or "hello," just to make sure that nobody's in there. I've actually had a couple of instances where, well, actually more than two, where there was a dog for some reason inside the home, and the dog ran out. So I think I saved myself a biting. Another one where I actually had a homeless person that was staying inside the home. So it's always good to announce yourself as loud as you can before you enter into the home. And then, as long as it's clear, let them walk into the room first, or you can let them walk into the kitchen while you check all the rooms to make sure it's safe. But definitely don't be the first one to walk in. You'll end up cornering yourself. The third one is to carry a self-defense weapon or know your options. Know the laws on Guam. If you're going to carry something, make sure that in trouble for carrying it. Whether it be a baton or a flashlight's actually really good. Tape measures, I've learned, can actually hurt people. So carry a tape measure with you, that might help. Next one is tell coworkers and family where you are at all times. Said that already, cannot say it more than enough times. I've learned that by telling a coworker, it's a lot better than telling my wife. And the reason why is because a coworker will know where these places are. My wife, if she were to look at the app, she would first have to figure out where on Guam that is. But by telling a coworker, it'll be almost second nature to know exactly where you were last. Use technology and tools to prioritize safety. Again, WhatsApp is one that's good. You can even just get them on the phone, somebody on the phone, and put them on speaker. And you can even just pretend that it's your first day on the job and your broker is trying to make sure that you're doing it right or whatever. So again, use your gut and get on the phone with somebody if you feel it's not safe. The next one is to educate yourself through training and self-defense classes. It's actually interesting that this one came up because our one of our committees is actually working on putting together something similar to this. It's going to be a really quick, I think she was saying like 30 to 45 minute class and some simple self-defense training courses. So yeah, just look out for that. It's very, very important to keep yourself educated in how to protect yourself. The last one is to create a safety plan and get to your just to create a safety plan. In the event something goes wrong, what's your plan? What are you going to do? So just make sure to share your safety plan with your coworkers as well. The bottom line is that agents should be vigilant and intentional about personal safety. Make sure to know what you're doing. Make sure to do it intentionally. Make sure to have your plan. Figure out what you need to do, whether it's through WhatsApp or another app. I think Dominique last year had several apps that she felt could work as well. We could have her team up with the GRYPN committee to bring up those tools again. And that way everybody's kept safe. But at the end of the day, we just want to make sure everybody's safe and that you guys are keeping in line with all of our COVID-19 rules. That's pretty much it for me. I've got 2 minutes to spare. If anybody has any questions. If not, I'll gladly not answer them. I'm just kidding. Give it a second. And if you have anything, just unmute yourself.
Sean.
Hi, Jackie.
Hi. Hey, so that stuff that you were just explaining to us, do you have that in paper? So are you going to be able to distribute that either?
You know what I'll do right now is let me see if I can share this on our chat right now.
Great.
Find me 1 second. Done.
Okay.
Just for you,
Awesome.
Jackie.
Thank you. No,
No
just for
problem.
all of us. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. By the way, for the COVID-19, sorry, Peggy, for the COVID-19 information, you can find the property entry rules on our GOR website. If you just type in Guam Association of Realtors, the website is the #1 search option on there. The second, for all of the other forms, COVID forms, you can actually find them in our zip folders or searches. So if you just go on zip, type in COVID, it'll give you all I think it's like four forms regarding COVID on there. So I think that's pretty much it, guys. Peggy, back to you.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate all the safety reminders for everybody. We don't want to be part of the statistics, so we can't think that it cannot happen to us. So being safe is always the key. And we know that September is officially the month that we celebrate Realtor safety. But it should not only be 1 month out of the year, rather 365 days, every minute of the day. So stay safe always. Now, next presenters that we have is our chair of our standard forms work group, Miss Gina Campus, and our vice chair of our standard forms work group, Miss Louisa Wessling, that will provide. They will be providing updates with regards to the latest form that they've worked on, and other forms that are in the pipeline for you to be aware of. Thank you very much, and the virtual floor is yours, Ms. Gina and Ms. Louisa. Let us know if you're ready, if you want us to share screen.
Gina, before you get started, really quickly, Peggy, can you go ahead and bring up the form for her? While she's bringing it up, can I ask you a question really quickly?
Absolutely.
All right. Are we allowed to print blank forms from Zip?
We are not allowed to print blank forms from Zip. You can actually print a form that says draft across it.
That's right. So there are two ways for you guys to print up blank forms from Zip forms, and the first one is just to print a blank form without anything written on it, which is something that the board had voted on against doing. So you are not allowed to print up a blank form without anything written on it. What Gina was talking about was this: the other option on Zip is if you were to go on Zip forms, you can actually print a draft form, in case if one of your owners wanted to see it. So just make sure to do that. One of the biggest reasons, and I don't mean to take up your time, Gina, one of the biggest reasons for this, for now allowing our members to do this, is that Zip forms, our forms is one of our biggest tools that we have as realtors. By giving away our tools, it takes away our need from the community. I mean, anybody can fill out a form, or so they think, right? And just imagine if everybody on Guam had the form. I mean, they already have access to our IDX. I mean, what would stop them from turning in an offer directly to an owner at some point? We definitely need to stay away from that. We need to keep our tools to ourselves and make sure that we protect them. Gina, I didn't mean to take up your time. The form is up there for you.
Other people, please. Okay. Sean?
Yep.
Okay, Peggy, if you could let your office know they are sharing the wrong version. If you can, if you don't mind pulling up. So this is the version we worked on, but this is not the version that is in Zip. And I think it would be more relevant if we just focus on what is already in Zip today, not so much going over the document that we reviewed and made changes on. Perfect. That is the document. Okay. Thank you so much, Peggy. Louisa, did you have anything to say or share before I get started on explaining the changes that are currently in Zip forms?
No, I'm going to let you take the lead on that. I'd just like to say that, so for those that are in attendance today, that we do have a committee of, I think, well-seasoned and experienced agents that are reviewing these forms and going to see what needs to be modified, what needs to be updated, and that this is the first form of many to come. And that I think we plan to, as the forms are updated, modified, amended, made better, then, I believe the association will give training, at least so that the agents can see exactly where the changes were made and how they are improved over the former form, basically. So it'll be an ongoing process, I believe, right, Gina? This is not going to be the only form that we're going to be reviewing, and so the association members will be kept posted as new forms, updated forms are uploaded.
Absolutely. This is
Okay.
the beginning of the process. And I also want to thank all the individuals.
She froze.
I think she froze. Give her
Yeah.
give her a few seconds, guys. Unless if you want to take over for now, Louisa.
Okay, yes, you can go ahead, Louisa.
Okay, so yeah, she's still frozen. Okay, so the residential lease or month-to-month rental agreement was the first form that we tackled as a committee. And this is Gina's form, and so I'm going to assume here that the yellow highlighted marks, sentences are the areas where we modified.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so you're looking at page 1, and you can see where we added in sections, paragraphs 2 and 3, a clarification that any type of prorating will be, prorations will be based on a 30-day calendar month, because there was a lot of inconsistencies with people using 30 days or 31 days, or in the case of February, 28 or 29. So to unify and just, make it clear and uniformed, we did add that provision here in section 3D. And also that, and a lot of the changes too, I'd like to say, we took into account what the Guam Landlord and Tenant Act, which was passed a couple of years ago. We went through that act and made sure that the lease agreements reflected what the law requires.
Louise, can I add?
Gina, are you back? Okay, great. Okay, Gina, feel free to take over.
Can I add clarification to that?
Yes.
All the changes that we made were after the attorney's review.
Right.
It was with the attorney's guidance, and the goal of making these changes was so that that our lease agreement now conforms with the 2018 Guam Landlord and Tenant Act. That was the primary objective of making these changes, so that our lease agreement conforms to the law. And you're absolutely right. So on item number 3, the law specifically says 30 days, 30 calendar days. So all the changes that we've implemented was based on the advice of the attorney, and that's how they came about. So on the front page, you've already addressed item number 3. And if you go to item number 4, security deposit, I've highlighted the areas that we've made changes, that the group made changes on. And this will make it very easy for the brokers within each company to go over these changes with your agents, with your realtors. And so as I've pointed out, these changes in here conform to the law. So item number 4, as it relates to security deposit and PED deposits, we made changes in item, and in item A, we made changes because if you look at the last lease, the verbiage on that section was incorrect. It was not clear the way that was written. So if the GAR office will scroll down to item number 4, item number B and C, D, E, and F, the changes were made to conform with the law. In item number 5, we added PED deposit. And that has nothing to do with the law, but we decided to add that in there for clarification purposes. On page 2, item 8, highlighted is household waste and trash. That is just a clarification. We made changes in item 10, section B, C, and D. And item 11, B, these were clarification items. If you scroll down and on the next page, page 3 of 6, C and D, we just added lines. Item number 15, rules and regulation. We added that line, if applicable, tenant has been provided with, we added that in. In the Tenant Landlord Act, it was specific about providing documents and making changes during the lease, and we felt that this was necessary to add section 15, add that in. Item number 16, again, this section was added in so that it conformed with the verbiage of the law. Item number 17, again, to conform with the law unless otherwise specified by law, just to make things clear. On page 4, item number 24, we added the box if checked. Item number 25, this is again, so item number 25, this is actually a mistake. If you see the lines, we added the verbiage commencement date and premises, but what will be removed is the line. There is no need for lines to be in this section. It was a mistake. And that the lines on item 25A will be removed. If you go to item number 25, this is a clarification based on how we do business. We added that line in. The highlighted areas, what we added in just to conform to how we actually do business. Item number 28. So if you scroll down, we added the verbiage subject to law and upon notice by landlord for clarification. If you go to page 5, item number 37. So what's highlighted are the only areas that we've made changes in. So you can see the original body of the LR form is intact. These, as far as I'm concerned, they are minor changes, but only so we can conform to the law or perhaps address how we actually do our business. So item number 37, this was a recommendation by the attorney to add in that verbiage. And item number 40 on the next page, 43 on the next page. This was based on the group's desire to add clarification. We added in landlord. So we added in that verbiage. And where you go to the bottom where it says tenant, it did not previously say tenant signature. We've added that in. During our discussion, we found that there are often times where there is no signature, and we believe that adding the signature will be a point of clarification. There is one other item that is not addressed in this LR that I want to point out because this will be coming soon. If you go to item number 36, mediation. This is a change that is forthcoming. This again was based on the attorney's recommendation that our mediation clause not be so open-ended. And so another change that we have submitted to Peggy and to the office for changes is the following. Item number 36, based on the attorney's recommendation, the group has come up with this verbiage. If checked, the parties agree to mediate any dispute or claim between them within 90 days as outlined in the mediation advisory, which is a new form that the group has we downloaded the mediation advisory pamphlet that was in the NAR website. And the group has modified the pamphlet to address our needs here as an association. And that pamphlet will be submitted to the GAR office through Peggy so that it could be submitted to ZIP. And basically it'll be in line with this verbiage. So if checked, the parties agree to mediate any dispute or claim between them within 90 days as outlined in the mediation advisory, GAR form blank, which undersigned parties acknowledge receipt of. So it is the vote of the group that this particular advisory be added on, and it will be implemented the same way that a buyer's advisory is done. So if you check that particular sentence, then the mediation advisory will automatically be attached to the form. And it will be something that the buyer will automatically be asked to sign off on. Now so that change is not in there yet, but the group has voted on it. And we're hoping to get that implemented within the next couple of weeks. By next week, we want to submit it to Peggy and hopefully have ZIP implement that within the next couple of weeks. And those are our changes. Louisa, if I've missed anything, please.
No, no, Gina, you covered it well. And I'd just like to add regarding this paragraph on mediation, as Gina pointed out, the association's attorney advised us that our former and current statement, as you see it right now, just left mediation, which is a voluntary action by the parties, but it left it so open-ended with no, beginning or closing period parameters around it, that it could, although they agreed to it, it is something that could drag out for months or years. In case in point, one of our agents shared how a mediation over a dispute, took almost 2 years to resolve, because it was left open-ended as to when it could be filed and when it would be concluded. So I'm really looking forward to this, and this mediation advisory will be applicable to both the lease agreements, residential, I think commercial, and also into the purchase agreements as well.
Yes.
And then and one last thing to add also is the signature block. Gina pointed out that the word signature was added next to the party and submitted on this form that you see right now for landlord, but that word signature, I think, is also going to be added for the future one. That'll be coming out, right? It'll say landlord's signature as it will as the state's tenant signature.
That's correct. That was
Right.
missed in this form, but those are points of those are actually corrections that were missed.
Correction, correct, right, okay.
And Louisa's absolutely right. The mediation verbiage, once we have that approved by this group, it will be incorporated into all the forms where the mediation line is present. So we're working on that next.
Yeah.
And I see some questions on here, Sean.
Well, if it's okay, we'll go ahead and address some of those questions. We'll send the questions to you guys, and then maybe just for the sake, sorry, back a bit. For those of you guys that aren't on the board or committees, I'm very big on time. I want to make sure we end things on time, we start on time. Unfortunately, we're running behind time here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have Peggy get all the questions. We'll send it to the committee. You have my word that sometime next week, we'll send a GAR email out answering all of the questions. And I saw one of the things in there, you guys were asking for this form with all of the highlighted sections. We'll go ahead and do that as well. But I'm so sorry, for the sake of time, we cannot answer any of those questions. Gina and Louisa, you guys are super awesome. I don't know, I mean, I can't say enough about committee members. I mean, you guys are some of the coolest cats in our association. Thank you for all your hard work. And I appreciate you guys' time in taking time to do this and to announce everything to our association. Yeah, so thank you guys very much for that. Peggy, back to you.
Yes, thank you very much. Our work group chair, Gina Campus, and our vice chair, Louisa Westling, for our standard forms work group. Thank you very much. The questions that our audience may have that they would like to communicate, please put it in the chat so we can capture them, and we will go ahead and consolidate and submit it to our standard forms work group, and they will be meeting next week, and they all of that can be addressed then. Thank you for that. By the way, before we move on to our next presenter, which will be about MLS, what not to do, I'd like to just make an announcement that if you see security title, thank them again, because we are giving away again some prizes towards the end. So hang tight till the end, because you have to be present to win, okay? So we'll do the raffle later. Next is I'd like to introduce our 2021 MLS Chair, Ms. Naja Rilamas of Sunrise Realty. Thank you, Naja. And our MLS State Representative to the National Association of Realtors, Ms. Jody Duenas. The virtual floor is yours, ladies.
Thank you so much, Becky.
Wait, before you guys start, Peggy, go ahead and take down the LR form. And sorry about that. All right, Naja, it's officially yours now. Take it.
Go ahead, Naja.
Okay, thank you so much. I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to, work with you on MLS. Sure, a lot of important things that are on our list this year. And I want to partner up with Jody on this one. A couple questions that that we were approached by members, questions that come up all the time. And Jody and I just want to clarify a couple of them. So are you ready for the questions, Jody? One thing that we were asked is, can you ask for a pocket listing? So that was one of the questions. I give the word to Jody.
Okay, so actually the rules of the rules and regulations state, and if you want to write it down, it's section 410. It's called pocket listings. It's or unlisted property participants of Guam MLS shall not promote solicited pocket listings or unlisted property using the multiple listing service. Okay, so email at any time. So we're getting a lot of requests, and this is considered to be misuse actually of the MLS system. It's a violation, may result in a penalty and a fine, as it's indicated on the Exhibit A of the MLS citation schedule of fines. The item that you guys need to look at is section 9.3. That's where the MLS listing rules and regulations appear. The fines, if you guys are interested, is $250 for the first offense, $500 for the second. It's actually $1,000 for the third offense. We do have some really, really good information to share. We continue to provide the information. And I know that there are a lot of questions from the membership. There's always the same questions, but we want to continue to remind you. So the first thing is the Guam, the Realtor Code of Ethics, Article 1 requires realtors to promote and protect the interests of the clients. So realtors must always keep in mind that recommending pocket listings to client, when recommending a pocket listing to a client, says they must always keep in mind that beyond the Code of Ethics, the state law generally dictates that the real estate agent owes a fiduciary responsibility to the clients, meaning real estate professionals must place their client's interests above their own and act in the best interest of the client at all times. It cannot be overlooked that that Article 3 duty to cooperate with brokers, except when cooperation is not the client's best interest, is rooted in the premises of the cooperating marketing that often provides and produces the best results for sellers. So I know that there are questions as far as your concerns about what can I ask when you use the MLS internet. Just keep in mind, if the property is not listed in MLS and you're asking for inquiries, you're not allowed to use that. You can say a question like, if anybody has any MLS list, any properties that are listed that would consider the following, you're referencing and you're asking these MLS, you're asking for the properties that are currently in MLS to, to agree, let's say you have a $3,000 listing, but your client is asking for something that's at 2,000. So, you have to ask for listings that are in MLS, because our clients sign a listing and the listing states that they agree to put it in MLS. Those pocket listing owners do not abide by the rule. And so we are protecting the interests of the current clients that we have that agree to sign on and use the MLS system. So that's the only reason why we're really, really trying to promote multiple listed properties that the owners have agreed to sign a listing agreement and, agree to the rules and regulations. Now, agents who ask for common questions like that, like, I'm looking for anything from 250,000 to 300. If you have anything, please let me know. That's actually really open-ended. You're not asking for MLS. You're not asking for anything that's on MLS. You're just asking the question, which is a very, very vague question, and that's a misuse of MLS. So just keep that in mind. The other thing to just keep in mind, and it's not part of a question, but clear cooperation, it's something that we continue to keep talking about. It is that MLS statement 8.0 that states within 1 business day of marketing the property, the listing broker must submit the listing into MLS for cooperation with the other agents. The public marketing include, but is not limited to, flyers, displays in windows, yard signs, digital marketing and public facing websites, brokerage website, including IDX and the VOWs, digital communication marketing, email blasts, multiple broker listing sharing networks, and applications available to the general public. Anytime you share this information with the public, within 24 hours, you must submit the listing. Just keep that in mind, because we have agents that continue to have property signs either up maybe a week before the listing comes available. That's actually not allowed. It's a violation of clear cooperation. You must put it in MLS within 24 hours. Just keep that in mind, okay? And then what's next, Nadia?
So I think you said, you kind of like explained it already, Jody, what is a pocket listing actually?
Yeah, it's a listing that is kept off the market. It's not a property that's actually listed.
Okay, thank you so much for clarification. So,
You're welcome.
So what would you do though if the owner, and we do have that sometimes, the owner would say like, hey, I don't want it listed. I don't want people to really know, like that I'm selling this, especially like, let's say like with commercial properties, sometimes, it's a kind of like hit or miss, you don't want to tell people you're selling or like you're thinking about closing your business. That's a big one. So what would you do in that case?
So if an owner wants to list a property but does not want to list it on MLS, that's actually fine. They can sign the listing agreement. There's a section there that says opt out of the listing off of MLS. So what happens is I could list a property, but what I'll do is I'll send the girls at GAR the listing agreement so that they are aware that the property is actually listed and it's not supposed to be published in MLS. It must be submitted to MLS and to GAR. It also must observe the same appropriate timeline, okay? So remember, the timeline of submission is 48 hours from the time of listing. This gives you the ability to promote the listings through other realtors, okay? You can promote it through realtors, but keep in mind, you must follow the GAR guidelines about submission. If you look up section 1.3 of MLS rules and regulations, that can be found in our website, and recently revised version will be uploaded before the end of the week. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Can I announce unlisted properties?
Actually, no, because unless you have a signed listing agreement that is submitted through GAR, whether opting in or out, placing it on MLS, please keep in mind that's the violation of clear cooperation that I mentioned above. Again, you have to submit the, once you start marketing the property, you must submit your information to MLS within 24 hours so that it doesn't violate the clear cooperation. and then again, it goes, it just, what happens is it continues to keep circling. It goes back to pocket listings, why pocket listings and unlisted properties are not allowed. And then again, the fine schedules. There are fine schedules that are there. I think people forget that it does exist, but for the purpose of trying to get on board with everybody following the rules and regulations, I believe that the MLS committee, I don't know, Nadia, I think there will be some, some enforcement, a bit more enforcement, because we continue to remind people, and I understand sometimes people forget, but it is a professional, it's part of our profession. We have to remember, that this is important. It protects, the rest of the membership. And it also allows the membership to all cooperatively work together. We don't want to get one up on another person. We're all trying to make this a fair playing field for everybody. So that's basically what that means
I don't mean
for
to, I
everybody.
don't mean to jump in. We just got a question. I wanted to see if you can answer this one really quickly. Sorry,
Okay.
Nadia, I'm going to cut you off there, but
Yeah, go
this is
ahead.
a big one. I've heard you answer it before. How, or what's my question here? Let me find it really quickly. Am I able to put up signs on properties that are not listed?
No, you're not. It's actually the MLS rules and regulations state that, a listed property must have a sign on it. We have quite a bit of people who have maybe properties that maybe they own, or is that what your question is, Sean? Like
Yeah.
maybe they own a piece of property, but it's not listed, but they still continue to advertise it by using their brokerage sign, even though maybe it could be a broker-owned property. Is that
So
your question?
I remember you answering this question, and if I may, just tell me if I'm wrong. You can get the tongue in and spank my hand if I'm wrong. But I remember you answering this question before. The first answer you gave was that we cannot, because of the clear cooperation agreement. If it's unlisted, we cannot. We're not supposed to put up our signs or announce it. And if we do, we have to make sure we put it on MLS. The second thing you told me was that there's a Guam law. I think it was Guam Code Annotated 1541. Which basically says residential and agricultural zones, no exterior nameplate or sign shall be erected, displayed, or maintained except the following: temporary unlighted signs, aggregate not over 24 square feet, and an area pertaining to the sale or lease of the premises. So the Guam law basically does state that it needs to be or pertain to the sale or lease of a property. So on Guam law, it says you can do it as long as it's pertaining to the sale or lease of the property, but NAR says that you can't because of clear cooperation, unless if you're listing it. So keep that in mind. If I can I ask you one? I think we have time for just one more question. Would you mind, Nadia, if I just asked her?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. There's a couple of questions that have popped up here, and this is just to my email. Photos. Can I use another agent's old listing photos in my website or ads?
No, those photos are owned by those agents, and the question is obviously no. There is a section of the MLS rules and regulations, I think it's 4.7, that says photos and virtual tours, documents, images on MLS by submitting the media to MLS, which were taken by the participant and the subscriber. Submitting participation or subscriber grants MLS to utilize it for MLS purposes, but you can't use it for your own. I mean, obviously all the photos are owned by the agent or the agency that takes the photos, and a lot of them spend money to do so, and so therefore no, you got to ask the permission obviously of the owner of the photos. I see some people using their maps as well, so just keep in mind that those are owned by the individual, by the individual offices, agents, and please ask before anybody uses, if anybody wants to use a photo without permission, please ask the agent prior. Maybe it was a previous listing agent, ask them, I'm willing to share my maps if my maps are well enough and well read so that people are interested. I don't mind, there's no hard feelings about anything. We're professionals, but just to take a photo or a map, it's kind of unacceptable. You got to ask permission first. They all belong to the offices.
I'm going to go into MLS today, take all of your maps. Thank you very much for that. I'm just kidding. Okay, So yeah, thank you very much for clarification. One thing I would like to add is that regarding this is that you can use the photos end up populating via IDX on your website.
Yes, that's
allowed.
okay if it's populated by IDX.
Yeah, and that's because it's in that format. But
It's
you
in the
cannot take these photos and use it in your own MLS data sheet, and you cannot use it in your own website. Or yeah, just you have to ask permission first. There's a bunch of other questions, guys. I mean, the questions are really, really good and they're popping up. But we unfortunately, again, are running out of time. What we're going to do, if it's okay, Jody and Naja, is I'm going to have Peggy and the wonderful girls over at the office compile all of these questions. And again, you have my word that next week we'll send out a newsletter, which I'm hoping all of you guys are reading, with all of these answers. I just want to thank you guys again for taking the time to get the answers to all of these questions, and for taking the time again. This is future use, taking the time to answer all the other questions that have popped up. I applaud you guys for all your hard work. Again, Naja is the chair for MLS, and Jody is our NAR representative for MLS. Peggy, I want to give it back to you.
I got victimized again by my own volume. Thank you very much, ladies, and thank you, President Sean. I appreciate it. And we're on to our last segment of our agenda, and this is GRPR trainings and updates. And with us today is Mr. Frank Ariola and Mr. Ryan Mummert of Manhalem as well. So the virtual floor is yours, and please feel free to do any screen sharing as needed.
All right. Thank you very much, Peggy. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your time this afternoon. My name is Frank Ariola. I'm with Manhalem LLC, and my partner, Ryan Mummert, in another organization called Cognition LLC. Today, I'd like to go over a couple of things, provide you with some updates, and then hand it over to Ryan, who will give you the forecast of what we'll see added features and benefits on the GRPR application. First, currently we have our base package that's been launched. We've had some new features added to it, some new search features, a ground protection layer zone that was added onto it. We've added some topo maps on it as well, as well as the opportunity zone, which many of you have already seen already. That's number one. Number two, relative to the training component, Peggy, as I was deliberating last night and talking to Ryan, because obviously time is short here, and when we do our training, we want to go through it kind of really in depth. Manhalem would be very happy to set up a couple of training programs for either new GAR members or existing GAR members who would like to get a refresher course. We'd absolutely be happy to do that within the next 2 weeks or so. We'd be happy to do that for you. That way we'll have we focus strictly on the details and the finer points of the application. The mobile application. We have the GRPR, which is a web-based, browser-based application currently. We are working now with the Guam Webs, which is the provider for the GAR website, so that we can both provide a new security protocol, which we refer to as OAuth. And that security protocol will allow for single sign-on for GAR members. What that means in a nutshell is basically you could be able to sign in with either your existing credentials, username and password. More importantly, you could sign in with either your Facebook account or one of your Google accounts. So it makes it very open-ended in terms of providing access. Why that's important is because a lot of these services that we'll be accessing in the near future, government entities, Department of Land Management, Department of Public Works, Department of Revenue Tax, they are all on the OAuth authentication protocol or the single sign-on. So we would be naturally be able to connect to those from a technical standpoint. And that's why we're headed in that direction. Now, one of the issues that came up, and I'll address this up front, is based prior to going to OAuth, we went to this an older protocol, which essentially we would have to connect with the GAR website. And so on the one hand, we have the GAR website where you provide your email and your credentials, and then the other hand, operation is our GRPR website. There was a pipe there that certain bits of information was not getting to the GRPR, and so consequently, some of the GAR members had some trouble. They were not able to access the GRPR. I would say a couple things. One, the GRPR was always up and running at that point in time. We were not able to see who was getting in or getting out because that was outside of our front door, so to speak, right? But to the credit of Raj at Guam Web, he was able to drill down further and identified that when some users had changed their credentials, username or password, they weren't able then to access into our database because their new or changed credentials were not a part of that. Since that point in time, we have now resolved that issue, and I think we had some 27 cases of GAR members who weren't able to access it. We've confirmed that 14 have been able to access, and we're still trying to get, or the GAR staff is trying to get the rest of those members identified or notified that they can now access the GRPR. So that was a little, that was one of what we call, and Peggy referred to it very well as some growing pains relative to pulling out the kinks of the connection between the GAR website and the GRPR website. With this new OAuth single sign-on protocol, that will remove that that issue. So I've given you just kind of a general update of where we're at today. Now moving forward, we've what we've been doing in the past 6 or 7 months really has been working in the background to get a number of these really big and important services to add on top of the GRPR. And as I mentioned earlier, we talked about interconnecting with various government agencies, which really impacts your business, most specifically the Department of Land Management and their records, right? And so our team with Ryan has been working with together to get a records database, which will be included on top of the GRPR application. And what I'll do now is I'll turn it over to Ryan, who will go over in depth and detail about this records database, and then how that's going to impact your use of the application. And then finally, he will touch on a little bit about the MLS integration, so that now we've got everything all kind of sitting on top of each other on one application, and so that you, the Guam Association of Realtors, and all your members would be able to utilize this, take it to the next level, and assist you in selling or leasing additional properties. So with that, if there, maybe I'll hold the questions till after, and then so I'll turn it over now to Ryan for the update on the records database. Ryan.
Hafide, realtors and partners, happy to be speaking to you again. Yeah, like Frank said, one of the things obviously we're out to do when we put out the map layer is we want bona fide and current real estate information available for the membership, on demand, right? To facilitate real estate research, but we're always limited by the available data. So since the onset of our partnership with the association, we've been working towards building a collective database that will be the underlying source of material that will populate the fields in GRPR. Presently, what we're looking at is tax roll information for ownership, and you all know that that's not an accurate assessment. But as we bring the database online, we should be able to consistently upload up-to-date ownership information, so you have at least the last owner of record for the property versus what's existing on the tax roll. In addition, we hope to be able to track real estate closings, so you can pull non-MLS comps and see what's closing in the market outside of your association, which is very helpful, especially when you're doing comps for buyers and sellers. For making your offers, it's helpful to know. And then additionally, we have we're trying to break down ownership for the condos, which hasn't even been achieved on the government side, right? They don't have accurate ownership through the horizontal property regimes that exist at land management. So we're working towards that. And then one thing that credit to John Berdalio, John Duenas and Sean, they helped give us the information that we needed to put in a layer for the groundwater protection zone. So that's active in our beta version, and we should be launching that to the membership very soon, along with a topo layer that we have implemented in testing. And then now that we've resolved the OAuth issue, or at least we're at the goal line with that with Raj, is we should be able to successfully launch the mobile application that's been pending for some time. I know some of you still have the old land application from years ago that's still being populated from data from the system, but this is a new version of the app that's way more functional. We've had it in testing through the board and some of the tech committee, and it's been working pretty well. So once we finish the OAuth, we'll be able to launch that to the membership successfully. It's launched, it's locked and loaded and ready to go. So we're excited to be able to give you that, and that will allow you better access to the search tools when you're out in the field on site, right? Or you're showing some property, you want some reasonable estimation as to kind of where you're standing. It'll allow you to kind of dial in a little bit more and find out more real-time information while you're out in the field. But ultimately, the goal is to create an underlying data layer that will allow you to view real estate information in real time, and that's verified owners, comparables, and that's supposed to be the underlying layer for your MLS data, right? And that's what we want to do, is we want to start integrating your MLS data into the GRPR map layer. So the two worlds combine and you have the best of both worlds. So now you have square footage information. Now you have histories of closings on different properties, listing information, selling information. We want to integrate that all into GRPR. So you have all those tools in one place, and that's the goal. And ultimately, our goal for this thing is to create an economic portal, I would say, right? We want you to have all the access that you need to pitch investment on Guam, whether locally or internationally. We want you to have excellent stats, accurate data, and a good foundation for which to base your transactions on. And we'd like to, and we plan soon to go into the planning phase, for some of the major features in the next version of GRPR. So I know we're working with the tech committee to get into like a brainstorming session soon, and then we're basically going to forge the way forward for the application and where the membership would like to see it go, and how they would like it to see grow, and a prioritization of what tools you'd like to see first. So we're really open to the input. And part of the thing that we're doing is training. We'd love to hear your input, like in those sessions as well, because we're very this tool is for you. It's to make you, it's for economic benefit for you. It's to get you busier. It's to get you more prospects. It's to get you more leads. It's to get you more listings, and ultimately make you more money, right? That's what this is all about.
Guys, thank you so much for giving us those updates, man. You guys are working hard in the back. Appreciate it. Unfortunately, we're running short on time. We only have a few more minutes left, and I really think it's important. We also introduced the chair for our GRPR committee. He's also the guy that helped watch this thing happen and develop. If I guess the best way I could put this is he's GRPR's stepdaddy, Mr. I want to call it immediate or not so immediate past president, Bobby Satchler.
Thanks, Sean. Not so immediate. Anyways, I wanted to, Go ahead.
Sorry, brother. Can I ask you just a quick question? Just for the, I mean, and you can say whatever you're going to say, but I wanted to ask you, for those of us that have not including myself, because I mean, I think the app is freaking awesome. But for those of us that have not touched the app, why do you think it's important that they do?
Well, the app is, well, GRPR was served as particularly a resource for us to utilize along with our MLS and our zip forms, but a resource for us realtors to go ahead and utilize so that we can better help assist our clients moving forward. Now, the app and the information and the data, yes, some of it needs to be updated and will be updated, and we've been working on that. But just to give examples of how it can help, right now we can know where the flood zones are. We can know where the opportunity zones are. We can locate locate the property within the guidelines of GRPR. We can locate the property, know what shape it is, at least up to 2018 tax roll, know the shape of what it is, who owns it, and also be able to understand what the zoning is. If it's been further subdivided thereafter, it hasn't been updated yet, but soon we will get there. But there's so many opportunities to discuss with your clients, whether it's buildable, whether it's big enough to actually have either sewer connections or septic tank connections, where the nearest water line may be. And that's something that we'll get there, but these are all useful tools that we can actually utilize to better service our clients. And it's a great tool. I've been using it endlessly, and we can actually shape polygons on the map, and so that we can get descriptions of within this area. I want to know how many R1s there are, or how many R2 zones there exist within this area. If I have a particular A zone, if I want to go and apply for a GLUC variance application, I can go ahead and utilize this GRPR as a tool to identify the lot numbers that are within a 50 mile radius, or 50 meter radius, and so on and so forth. I mean, there's endless uses. I'm sure there's also other uses out there that creatively we all will be able to figure out.
Thank you very much for that. Unfortunately, guys, we are just about out of time. I wanted to ask Frank, Ryan, and Bobby, man, there's a few questions that have been popping up on our screen here. I want to make sure we get that out to to our membership next week in the newsletter. Can we forward you guys the questions, and you guys just go ahead and answer them for us when we get there?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem.
Sure.
Perfect. I want to thank all three of you guys again for helping us out, Frank, Ryan, and Bobby. Really appreciate your time in this. If I may, I'm going to turn the floor back over to Peggy. Peggy, the floor is yours. Take it. Peggy, you're on mute.
You're muted, Peggy.
You have to start all over again.
Third time. Okay, I apologize about that. I just said we are at the end, and thank you all for sticking around. But before we give out our prizes, which is we have 3 Mescla gift certificate, and the grand prize will be a family platter from Outback. So hang tight before we announce that. A few announcements. We're going to be having our, of course, the very first in-person event we have that we will be doing safely at our newest Realtor benefit partner, Realtor owned by Mr. Ray Rupley of Today's Realty at Horse and Cow. Today, it's an exclusive time for Realtors, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So please be there. This is courtesy of our member benefit committee chaired by Mr. CJ Sashdev and vice chair by Mr. Chris Bawar. Okay, so I hope that you show up and support them. Next is we're going to be having our Fair Housing Proclamation. April is Fair Housing Month, as you know it. So we are privileged to have the proclamation with our governor and lieutenant governor, as well as resolution presented to us by the legislature. That's April 8th. Again, we will make those, we'll share the announcements again in our various form of communication. Next would be April 15. We're going to be having our general membership meeting and MLS forum. We will be having NAR guests that will be talking about this with us. So stay tuned for more details on that. That's April 15. And then, of course, we're going to be having our housing symposium on April 22nd. This is for realtors only. It's a realtor housing symposium, but there will be another set of housing symposium in July, and that is chaired by our state representative to the National Association of Realtors, Ms. Marilu Laxon. That is the task force under the Housing Opportunity Committee, who is chaired by our newest broker, Mr. Carlos Camacho. So stay tuned for those details. But what you need to remember is today's mixer, okay? With that, President Sean, I just need you to give me 3 numbers between 1 and 79 to win the Mescla gift certificate.
If you don't mind, just because I think I've spoke a lot already, can I ask Liz to give those 3 numbers?
Yes, Liz, can I get you to give me 3 numbers between 1 and 79, please? And you have to be present to win, and I'm going to need my staff to tell me if they are present.
Incoming President Liz Duenas.
12.
Number 12. Is Christine Palma still with us? Christine Palma?
I'm here.
Okay, very good. And another one, Liz, please.
25.
Number 25, Frederick Guzman. Is Mr. Frederick Guzman with us? Can I get a yes? Hello?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Frederick Guzman. Thank you. And one more, Liz.
31.
Number 31, Mr. Glenn Makepeace. Is Mr. Glenn Makepeace with us?
Right here.
All right, thank you very much. And one more number, Liz, to win the Outback Family Platter.
45.
45, Leilani Bigler. Is Miss Leilani Bigler with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome.
Yay!
My staff will be in contact with you for the Outback Family Platter. And for the rest that won the gift certificate, my staff will be calling as well. Congratulations. Thank you very much to our platinum sponsor for the year, Security Title, for being able to offer all these gifts to you at our events. President Sean, any last words to the group?
Just want to say thank you guys very much for attending. Really appreciate it. Please look forward to our newsletter next week. And we'll also be announcing some of those events that we have coming up. Keep in mind that we do have an event this evening again. Peggy mentioned it. It's the one that it's going to be at Horse and Cow. Peggy, the time again?
That is 5 to 7 p.m. exclusive time for realtors and affiliates only. So
Right.
Check it out.
When you guys get there, I know it's going to be really hard. Try not to hug Ray Rupley for letting this happen for us, and CJ. Just give them like a virtual hug or something, or give them the elbow thing. Don't hug them, please, 6 feet apart. All right, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, correction for the housing symposium, folks. It's April 21st, but we will provide more information on that. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, guys. Hey, Peggy and Claire, if we do like this, we could be like